Who are you? Or maybe, what is you? Have you ever considered what you truly are? What do you identify with? Male, female, tall, short, big, small, intelligent, not intelligent, academic, physical, creative? What do you consider I am? What do you consider a great person to be? A musician, a composer, a poet, an architect, philosopher. All these differences, so many differences. But I tell you, there's only one something that's common amongst us all. And that is what we truly are. What we truly are is consciousness with a capital C. Conscious, without any label, without any comings and goings, without any identification. You are consciousness. You are consciousness. I am consciousness with a capital C. We are all that. Every human being, every animal is consciousness, even plants is consciousness. Consciousness is what we truly are. Another name for consciousness is happiness with a capital H. Inherent happiness, what we truly are, is inherent, innate. What we truly are is already the case. What you are when you were born and what you are when you die is consciousness. And what you are in between is consciousness. What you truly are never goes anywhere. One could say the body takes consciousness to a different place, a conditional place. What we truly are is not what you identify with. Consider a book. What is the book? Well, the book is not the text. The book is not what's written on the pages. A book is simply a book of an amount of pages, if you like, put together. That's what a book is. The book is not its content. So all books are blank pages to begin with. And they remain blank pages because what is written on the blank page doesn't actually disturb or destroy. It just, the appearance changes, but it doesn't change the page itself. You could say the same with CDs and DVDs. There are billions of CDs and DVDs at one time, VHS, tapes. And you can have a manufacturer manufacturing CDs, 1,000 or more a day or whatever. These blank CDs is what is common to all CDs before anything is added to the CD. But we identify with what's added. We say that's a book of, this is a spiritual book, if you might say a spiritual book. The book isn't spiritual, but it's got content that relates to spiritual matters. You have a cookery book. You can have a magazine. You can have recipes, descriptions and instructions and all kinds of books, as we know. But what's common amongst all the books is the fact that they all started off with blank pages. And take all the print off, it remains a blank page. So consciousness, what we truly are, is prior to what we often identify with. I'm going to say what we identify with is represented by the clenched fist, and what is consciousness is represented by the open hand. And the open hand disposition of consciousness is what we truly are, and it's prior. It's before anything we add to it. Consider a pane of glass, a window, a windscreen. The pane of glass, or glass itself, is not changed just because it's dirty or got smudges on it or smears. The glass or spectacles, just because there's a few marks on these spectacles, and we can see them. There's one, you can see it now. The glass itself is not changed, but we tend to identify with the changes, with the smears. We say that's a dirty windscreen, or that's a dirty pair of glasses. But in essence, in truth, it's not dirty. The glass has not changed. Something's been added to the glass, but the glass itself is unchanged. Consciousness is unchanged, no matter what we might read or eat or be or identify as. Consciousness remains the same. And once we've realized that place, our job is to stay there as consciousness and not to contract and go inward and be pondering all the time in your head, thinking. The true state of the body-mind is this consciousness. The body-mind is consciousness. It's full of energy because of this activity that everyone is doing, this self-identity, this identifying with whatever we identify with. It closes down, it constricts, it strangulates consciousness, which we truly are. I prefer the word consciousness to the word God, because the word God's got so many connotations. But consciousness is the divine, is God, is the divine state. So what we truly are is a disposition, a state. What we truly are never changes. What we truly are was never born and will never die. It's continuous. It's to realize this state, or to realize your true self, capital S self, is liberating. And once you're there, the body-mind is happy. It's happy to relate because it's already in relationship. It's happy to serve. It's happy to share. It's happy to... you see, it's already tolerant. It's already at peace. And we are all consciousness. So bringing us together is bringing us together as one. Two people, both expert pianists, they come together and perform a duet. That duet becomes one piece of music. There have been quite a few times I've heard duets on the radio, not realizing it's a duet, just thinking it's a solo piece. But it turns out there's 2 people playing it, and sometimes 3 or 4 people. And then, of course, we have orchestras. There's 80 people coming together to play the one piece of music. They're capable because they are skilled at their job. So when consciousness comes together with consciousness, we merge. We're happy to be with one another. We cooperate. We love. It's just automatic love, as it were, because we are inherently love. We had a great time together the other night. We had a great time together the other day. We had a great time. When we have these great times, it's because we're forgetting the smears and the smudges and all that we identify with. We've often heard that children play very easily and naturally with one another without any discrimination of skin colour or ethnic culture differences or gender differences. But it's getting more and more difficult because parents and society are allowing children to identify with a particular, I don't know what it is, trait, a particular whim, a particular fancy. I don't know what to call it. At one time there was only 2 genders, male and female, and now there's umpteen different genders, apparently. But what we truly are, no matter what our labels, no matter what you call me and I call you, we are all consciousness. And consciousness is conscious. That's what consciousness is. You're conscious. You are aware. That's another name for what we truly are. Feeling awareness. And when we are living as consciousness, we're not criticizing, we're simply observing. That's a clean, that's a dirty, that's small, that's large, that's crumpled up, that's a bit messy, that's tidy, that's clean, that's shiny. We are observing, we can see clearly as consciousness, without judgment, without this nonsense. I am right and you are wrong. Without that nonsense of competition all the time. Without that nonsense of wanting to be as good as you and you as good as me. And there's such a lot of nonsense that we identify with. Don't really want to mention any spiritual masters, but the one that majority of the world has heard of, especially in the Christian countries, is Jesus. And Jesus said, you've got to get out. You've got to throw away your first birth stuff and realize consciousness, which is your second birth of the Spirit. Jesus didn't come along, well, I'm starting on this one now. Jesus did not come along to mollycoddle you and say, oh, what a good boy you are, and I'll save you, and you can come and sit with me when you're in heaven. Don't worry about anything now. No. He came along to kick us up the arse to realize something greater. But very few people are willing to drop this nonsense, to drop all the texts. You see, truth is nothing to do with the words, though the words can help. These words may be helping you, but they're not the truth. The truth is this place of consciousness without words, without shape, without form, without identification. It's like air. It's everywhere. Except when it's not somewhere, like in space. But you understand, consciousness is the world. Consciousness. Trees and plants are conscious. They don't use words. And as far as I know, or I don't know, but animals aren't using words, but they recognize words. A dog can recognize what the master is saying in different languages. I mean, not the same dog, but a dog brought up in England with English-speaking owners will understand the same instruction as a dog being brought up in France with French owners. But it's not the words, you see. It's because the dog's conscious that it can behave in the same way with different words, meaning the same. Just as we do, if we understand the French for whatever the equivalent of the English is, because we're consciousness. It's consciousness that we are constantly. So realize that's what you are. You're consciousness. Sit down now and be conscious of everything. Look around. See this and see that. The pictures, the papers, the cushions, the seats, the blanket. None of these things have labels that the objects identify with. Labels are just for our convenience. And as I said, all of these things in this room would have a different name according to the language that we're using. How many different languages are there in the world? How many different words for chair are there? Hundreds. But the chair doesn't identify with any of those words. The chair is just sitting there, standing there, or being there as consciousness. Can you go about your daily business simply like an open hand? Go from here to there and everywhere, as if everywhere is your home, because everywhere is your home when you're living as consciousness. I've just come back from Venice. I was at home there. I was up in the air. I was at home there. I was in different cafes and restaurants. I felt at home there because I'm living as consciousness without this contraction. Without, constricting, without separating myself from the objects around me. You see, there's no separateness in me. I'm holding these glasses in consciousness intimately. The hands are intimate, and the eyes are seeing clearly and easily without any problem. And from consciousness, from this place, the open hand disposition, we are free. We are liberated to say one thing and then to say another thing. To be contrary. See, one day you'll see something differently maybe than the other day. It's only society that tries to keep us in place. Society which everyone's part of, but not everyone is living. I'm in the world, but I'm certainly not of the world. How much of the world are you? I've been a God man all my life. I wanted to know the truth right from an early age, because I was bloody suffering. I wanted to know the truth, and everyone around me was suffering. Suffering on a daily basis, psychologically abused, verbally abused, and sometimes physically abused. And look at me now, full of happiness, full of joy, full of understanding. I say full of. You see, you're not full of anything. You're just living. You're just living. The body mind is just alive with juice, alive with that energy, consciousness. To live like this is terrible. Really is terrible. It's always attacking. Always attacking. I'm right and you're wrong. Don't do that. Okay, at times it's okay to discipline people. It's okay to say, no, you're out of order. That's not on. But very few adults are mature enough to take it. Very few. Have you got any real mature members of your family in your life? Are you really mature? Do you react a lot? You see, from the disposition of consciousness, we do not react. The body mind does not react. It responds. And it's a wonderful way to live, just to respond, like I'm responding now. You respond. You're given something and you respond, and you look at it and you read it and you think, oh, yes, that sounds good. Looking at the recipe now for a vegan Christmas cake. That looks really nice. But then the first thing it says is, wash and dry all the fruit. And I think, well, I don't really want to wash all the currants and sultanas and all that. I don't understand why it needs to be washed. But there we are. So you discriminate from this disposition. You respond and you discriminate. You're mature. You see this. You live and your whole life is based on faith and trust, because consciousness is ongoing. You see, we don't think about it, but we go from one place to another place and another place with the certainty that we'll be okay with our breathing. We don't go somewhere fearing that there won't be any air. None of us do, except maybe severe asthmatics or people who are really bad in their lungs, so they have to take their cylinders with them. But that becomes an everyday situation for them, which they do their best to manage. So we live in faith and trust. We have faith that the cup we pick up, the handle won't fall off. We have faith that when we open the door, what's behind the door is what we hope there would be behind the door. We have faith when we stroke a cat that the cat's not going to pounce on you. You have faith when you stroke the head of a dog that the dog's not going to bite your hand off. You have faith. You see things clearly. You see, you're being conscious when you're looking at the dog, when you see someone new, fresh. But to live as consciousness full time, 24/7, is what Jesus was doing, and Buddha was doing. These people realized the truth, and very few people have realized the truth. You see, there's far too many people, including yourselves, no doubt, thinking that the truth is found in words, that the words are truth. No, they're not truth. I mean, when you read a recipe, you hope those words that you read will be the beginnings of creating a cake. 2 ounces of this and 2 ounces of butter and flour and sugar and all that. And you have faith that when you combine them all and put them in the oven and half an hour later, you will have this miracle. Everything's combined as it should, scientifically, exactly, the right temperature, of course. And there's a cake. Metamorphic, isn't it? That's a change from batter to something more solid. So what was I getting at there? So the trust and the faith that we have in conditional existence We trust that the car's going to start early in the morning, and so on and so forth. But so to live as consciousness is not to live as self-identifying with everything, that this is mine and that's yours. You own that and I own this. This is your house and this is my house. Okay, we're responsible for all these conditions, but let's face it, we didn't own them. We didn't come into the world owning anything, and we're not going out of the world owning anything. So to live one's life as sheer pleasure, wherever you are. I remember when I was in my early 20s, I went into the local store at Cavendish House, and I was looking around. I said, why do I want to buy any of this? I mean, I don't have to have any of this. I'm having it now. I'm enjoying it now. I don't need to go home with it and then forget it and let dust settle on it. We can enjoy all of our surroundings. Pleasurable oneness, you see. There's a pleasurable oneness. There's a delight. There's absolute delight in being able to hold this and look at this. And it's all very simple. To have a simple life, nothing complicated. There's a joy to cleaning, you know? Clean the spectacles. There's a joy to do that. To see the difference. To be in this disposition is sanity. To be in this disposition is like a headless chicken. So that's what I'm about, and I've been about what I've been about all my life, but it took quite a lot of places of suffering and even trying to destroy myself, you know. That's beautiful now. It's taking a lot to come to this place where I can confess that I truly understand human nature from this disposition and human nature from this disposition. And human nature from this disposition is a joy, absolute joy. And I'm here to embrace anyone who wishes to be embraced. And my teacher said, you cannot teach anyone unless you are both happy. You can't receive unless you're happy to receive. You can't really give unless you're happy to give. Happy to give. Are you happy to give away £50 or 20 pence? How much are you happy to give away before it becomes that place? Of course, one has to be sensible and you respond, not react. You consider. We don't own anything, but we can share. I can share these glasses with you if you've forgotten your glasses happily. I might not give them to you to take home. You never know. Look at that, beautifully shining now. Put a bit of on it. So, when I go out of the front door, am I going to go out like this? Or go like this? The God you've been brought up to believe isn't interested in Christmas, isn't interested in Easter. These are all man-made festivities. It's wonderful to have festivals and to celebrate together from the right place. The right place. The right place of living is this place. This is not good. I was going to say, believe me. No, I'm going to say, realize that you are truly conscious. You are consciousness. You are feeling awareness. What's there to do in this mad world other than simply to be happy? Be your true state. Thank you for listening, and re-listen to this. This kind of message must be listened to on a regular basis, because this is narcissistic. Everyone's being narcissistic, pondering, all the time in their head. But this place of open hand is a wonderful open head. No chit-chat going on, none of this constant dwelling on yourself. Poor me, or I'm right and you're wrong business, or the strategies and the manipulations that the ego is up to. You are consciousness, I am consciousness, and we all are consciousness. But to live as consciousness is what there is to realize. Let that happen in your life. Then you can say when it's time to go that yes, you truly did live a life of love and happiness and joy and delight. No matter what. You know, the everyday things like a tissue, the crinkliness of it, the texture of it, is a delight to enjoy. Everything can be enjoyed, even the blowing of one's nose. You see, consciousness is already happy. Consciousness is already joy. I thought I'd finished, but water, you see, what's the inherent quality of water? Well, the inherent quality of water is wetness. Water is inherently wet. The guard state, the open hand state, is inherently happy, inherently joyful, inherently pleasurableness. That's such a word. It's already pleasurable. You are already in relationship with everybody and everything. There is no separation from this place. You cannot separate wetness from water. Water wouldn't be water if it wasn't wet. Saliva, it's the same. What would our mouth be like without any wetness in the mouth? You've all had that, have you? Dried mouth. It's terrible, it's horrible. We must stop interfering with the body. We must be kind to the body. But it takes care of itself. The body does wonders. It's a miracle worker. But we shouldn't abuse it. This is abuse. It's always abusing from this place. Always wanting to be satisfied. Always wanting someone else to make it happy. But we are inherently happy. That's what consciousness is. Thank you for listening, and there'll be more. So my Christmas message is simply to realize consciousness. Wherever you are, be awareness, be feeling awareness. Sit quietly now and look around and enjoy what you're seeing. Be enjoyment from one object to another and in between, the space in between. Consciousness is never ever compartmentalized. It's always continuous. Continuous. Thank you.